targeting all major trade partners.
To help our country, and our country is riddled with fat, like no country probably anywhere in the world, and we're getting rid of the fat. And at the same time, we're going to be bringing in millions of very good, high-paying jobs, and we're going to be taking in a lot of money. Our country's going to be very strong. We've been ripped off by every country in the world, friend and foe.
India too is on Trump's list. The US president has called India a tariff king. Those are his words, a tariff king. He has repeatedly slammed India's high tariffs and threatened to tax Indian exports to the US. The message has been clear and consistent. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them. Listen to this.
So in India, which is a very big abuser, and Modi is a fantastic man. A lot of these leaders are fantastic. You have to understand one thing. They're 100%. These people are the sharpest people. They're not a little bit backward. They are at the top. You know the expression, they're at the top of their game, and they use it against us. But India is very tough.
The clock is ticking. Indian government officials are hard at work trying to avoid the worst of Trump's actions. And with that goal in mind, India kicked off critical trade talks with the United States. A delegation of American trade officials is in New Delhi as we speak. Among them is Brendan Lynch. He's a top US trade negotiator. He's on a 5-day visit to India. Lynch has been holding talks with Piyush Goyal, who is the Commerce Minister of India. They're discussing a trade deal. India and the US have set a deadline for autumn. They want to close the first round of negotiations by then. With Trump's tariff deadline looming, this week's talks gain a sense of urgency. They could shape India's trade relationship with the United States. So making progress now is very important. Which brings us to the question, what is the status right now? How close are the US and India to a trade deal? They have made some headway, but key differences still remain. The US wants a significant trade deal with India, a deal that covers a wide range of products from electronics, farm goods to automobiles, all of it. In fact, Trump has specifically complained about this, about India's tariffs on auto exports.
On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico and Canada, and countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%.
So Trump would like to see a wider deal, one that covers all major areas of the US economy, but India wants to take a more selective approach. India wants to pick and choose which goods to allow under this trade pact. And this approach seems to have frustrated the Americans. Howard Lutnick has questioned India's position on farm goods. He is the US Commerce Secretary, or America's version of a Commerce Minister. He wants lower tariffs on American produce. This weekend, he gave an interview in which he discussed the trade talks with India. Let me quote from what the US Commerce Secretary had to say. I said to Prime Minister Modi, you have 1.4 billion people and you brag to us how amazing your economy is. Why won't you buy a bushel of our corn? So US farmers can't go to India, but Indian farmers can come at us. Why is that okay? Apparently, Lutnick had this exchange in February when Prime Minister Modi met President Trump. They held talks at the White House. Remember, farm imports are a sensitive matter for India. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy, the Indian economy. It contributes 16% to India's GDP, and 46% of India's population depends on this sector for their livelihoods. So opening up India to US farm products could be counterproductive. Having said that, India has tried to meet the US halfway. It has lowered trade barriers to some American products, stuff like apples, American nuts, and duck meat. Washington is not satisfied. It is asking for more. It wants better market access for a range of goods like corn, soybean, cotton, pulses, and dairy. So India is trying to find the middle ground. Reports say New Delhi is open to making major concessions. It could cut tariffs on $23 billion worth of US imports. That's more than half of US imports to India. The total is worth around $41 billion today. So what India is offering should be a tempting proposition. Of course, there are risks involved and no easy choices for New Delhi. Lower tariffs could hurt domestic industries. Higher tariffs will hurt Indian exporters. You have to pick one. After all, the US is one of India's top export destinations. Last year, India exported goods worth $77 billion to the US. If President Trump slaps tariffs on them, if he chooses to punish Indian exports, it would cost the Indian economy dearly. The losses could be as high as $7 billion a year. Beyond that, the tariffs have broader implications. They signal a shift in the global order. They may spell the end of globalization. That is the assessment of Mark Tucker. He's the chairman of HSBC. He recently spoke on the state of global trade. Tucker says trade tensions are rising and this creates economic uncertainty. He fears that the global trade system could be junked. Regional blocks may replace globalization and free markets. That is his assessment. And Trump's policies are tailor-made to accelerate this shift. So how should India view this? This is not just about trade. India faces a strategic choice here. It can make concessions to protect exports or face higher trade barriers in the US. But can it strike a compromise before the 2nd of April? Guess we'll find out soon enough.